In this video, we will get into the details of some of the reasons why the Dangote oil refinery may not fully solve Nigeria's fuel scarcity problem. The Dangote oil refinery, often hailed as a game changer for Nigeria's energy sector, has stirred considerable optimism. It promises to end the country's long-standing dependency on imported fuel, bringing the potential for increased self-sufficiency and economic growth. However, while the refinery marks an important milestone, there are several reasons why it may not fully resolve Nigeria's fuel scarcity problem. The complexities extend beyond just refining capacity, touching on supply, distribution, economic, regulatory, and infrastructure challenges. Supply and distribution challenges. The refinery's production capacity, though substantial, may not be sufficient to meet Nigeria's full fuel demand. Nigeria's daily fuel consumption is estimated at 40 to 50 million liters. Although the Dangote refinery, with its capacity to refine 650,000 barrels per day, could produce significant amounts of petrol and other fuels, it might fall short of completely covering the nation's requirements. Additionally, localized shortages may persist due to distribution bottlenecks and logistical inefficiencies. Nigeria has historically struggled with poor fuel distribution networks, and the risk of these bottlenecks continuing, even with increased domestic production, remains. Another key factor is the role of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, which acts as the sole intermediary between Dangote Refinery and the market. If NNPC's management of the supply chain is inefficient or lacks transparency, fuel shortages could still plague certain regions, despite the country producing enough fuel overall. Pricing and market dynamics. Uncertainties surrounding fuel prices at the Dangote refinery present another potential obstacle. Although the refinery promises to boost domestic fuel supply, it has not yet determined its pump prices. These prices could still be influenced by global market forces, leading to high domestic costs for fuel. If the refinery finds export markets more profitable than selling locally, it may prioritize exports over domestic supply. This would reduce the available quantity of fuel for Nigeria, exacerbating the scarcity problem. Furthermore, with Dangote potentially becoming the primary source of petrol, there is a risk of monopolistic practices. Without competition, the refinery could dominate the market, allowing for pricing strategies that favor profitability over affordability for Nigerian consumers. Crude oil supply issues. A critical factor for the success of the Dangote refinery is its access to crude oil. Nigeria's crude oil production has been declining, falling to less than 1.2 million barrels per day in 2023. This drop in production could limit the refinery's ability to secure a consistent supply of crude oil, which is vital for its operations. Dangote has already raised concerns about the NNPC's inability to provide the necessary quantities of crude, forcing the refinery to seek international sources at higher costs. If Nigeria's oil production remains low, this challenge could severely undermine the refinery's capacity to alleviate fuel scarcity. Regulatory and policy uncertainties. Nigeria's fuel sector has long been riddled with regulatory ambiguities, and the transition to a fully deregulated market is still in progress. Confusion around pricing mechanisms persists, with uncertainty about the government's future role in setting fuel prices. Resistance to deregulation from various stakeholders who benefit from the current system could delay necessary reforms. This uncertainty could lead to an unstable fuel market, where pricing remains unpredictable, further complicating efforts to address fuel shortages. Broader economic factors. Nigeria's broader economic challenges also play a role in the refinery's ability to resolve fuel scarcity. Foreign exchange volatility, particularly the weakness of the naira, means that crude oil purchases may still need to be conducted in US dollars, affecting local fuel prices. The refinery's operational costs will also be impacted by Nigeria's high inflation and rising costs in other sectors, contributing to overall price increases for fuel. These broader economic factors could limit the benefits of domestic fuel production for Nigerian consumers, keeping prices high despite the local refining capability. Infrastructure and technical challenges. Nigeria's aging infrastructure presents additional hurdles for the Dangote refinery. Even with an increase in fuel production, the country's outdated transportation and storage systems for fuel may limit the refinery's effectiveness. Inefficiencies in moving fuel across the country or storing it safely could lead to supply disruptions. Moreover, the refinery itself may face technical challenges or maintenance issues that could interrupt production. Given the scale and complexity of the facility, unexpected operational issues could lead to periods of downtime, reducing its contribution to Nigeria's fuel supply during critical periods. Corruption and mismanagement. Nigeria's fuel sector has been notorious for corruption and inefficiencies, and these systemic issues may persist despite the presence of a world-class facility like the Dangote Refinery. Nigeria ranks poorly on global corruption indices, and mismanagement in key areas such as fuel distribution or pricing could undermine the refinery's ability to solve fuel scarcity. Corruption could also infiltrate the newly established supply chains, leading to inefficiencies that prevent the full benefits of increased domestic refining from reaching the broader population. Beyond refining capacity. While the Dangote oil refinery represents a significant step toward reducing Nigeria's reliance on imported fuel, addressing the country's fuel scarcity problem requires more than just expanding domestic refining capacity. Supply and distribution challenges, pricing uncertainties, crude oil production issues, regulatory ambiguities, broader economic factors, and infrastructure deficiencies all contribute to the complexity of the issue. Moreover, systemic corruption and mismanagement could further erode the refinery's potential benefits. While the Dangote refinery has the potential to improve Nigeria's fuel supply, solving the country's fuel scarcity problem will require addressing these interconnected challenges. Only through a coordinated approach that tackles supply chain inefficiencies, regulatory reforms, and infrastructure improvements can Nigeria hope to achieve lasting energy security.